Hello. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to another episode of Cultivating Conversations with DP²,
We
the
are
best
finally
podcast
back.
in all of the DMV. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay. I'm your host, Deja, along with my amazingly talented co-host.
DeAndre, we back, baby.
Oh my goodness. No more Miss Tuesdays. We say that
This
every
last
week.
week.
I know. Life be life, and what can we say? I don't know.
True. I remember we talked about before last week. We were going
Mm-mm.
to say I had graduated. How was it? We were going to see how yours was last week, but we missed. So
Yes.
graduated with your master's, Georgetown University.
Mm-hmm.
Pocket. How was that experience?
It was great. One, I was just happy that the weather was good because it was supposed to rain.
Oh yeah.
But also because when I graduated at UNC, I didn't get to walk across the stage because it was a December graduation. So I was very determined to be able to walk across a stage. I don't know why, but
it was fire. It was fire.
You pay $50,000 to be across stage for 5 seconds, but
True.
Hey, it is what it is. What can I say? No, but it was really good. I felt so like it was like an outer body experience. Is it outer body or out of body? Whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. Hey y'all. So it was great though. So shout out to the both of us. We have 2 grads in the building. Okay. Class of 2025. Shout out to y'all. But how you been real quick little check-in?
Yeah, I've been good. Just, feeling that graduation weight off my shoulders, college off my shoulders. And I think actually a discussion today we'll have, just about transitioning, stillness, mental health. I think that's some things that after college I'm going through now. So, it's just
life transition.
Life transition. So it's just all a bundle of, what's next, that type of vibe. So
yeah,
I've been good though. I've been good.
That's good. Well, I know that when we have guests, we have so much to talk about. So I don't want to waste too much time just with us on the screen. I want to make sure that we bring up our amazing guests today. So for those who don't know, I went to the UNC Chapel Hill, and when I was there, I just met so many wonderful, amazing, beautiful people. And the guest that we have today is one of my dear friends, Andre Smith. We're going to talk to him about like football, family, money, life, all kinds of things. Not just football because, he's an NFL athlete, but like there's so much more people than just that. Definitely. But I'm really excited to have him on. So let's bring him to the stage. Andre, hello.
Hello. Thank y'all for having me on the DMV's best podcast. Great to be here. Grateful to be here.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. How you doing?
Doing well. I'm out in Texas now. I live out in Texas. So the weather is interesting here. The weather is very interesting to say the least. It's thunderstorms and lightning and tornado warnings, and then it's 90 degrees the next day. So it's different, but
oh my gosh. I didn't know that. Did I know that about Texas weather? I don't think I did. Like I didn't know. I thought it was just hot and that's it. So
yeah, me too.
Me too. They we had the full, like even early in January, we had the snow and everything. It was they get at least in Dallas. I'll say Dallas or North Texas.
Okay. That makes a difference for sure. Do you remember how we met? I kind of do, but I also don't at the same time. But when we first met, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, I'm trying to remember it too.
I don't know.
I think it was probably someone in like our friend group that just kind of met, and then we all just, in college, you just hang out, you just power out.
True.
Or go to the same, like, oh, what y'all doing? Nothing. Oh, we pulling up, stuff like that. Like I think y'all might have lived in Morrison maybe, or some of them.
Oh yeah, I did oh yes, we did. Yes, sophomore year. Yeah.
And then we was around, and I think a certain person is the person that started the connection, and then it just grew from there.
It did.
Oh yeah.
Yes, no. I love Andre so much. We've stayed friends since then, but we go on like trips with our other friends and all that group chats and all that stuff. So love him dearly. But I know let's rewind a little bit. And I wanted to ask a question unrelated to sports first, but do you remember a teacher who had a huge influence on you, like basically on who you are today though? Like that connection there?
Yeah. my first high school, I went to public school around the corner from my house called Terry Parker. This was actually the first person I met. Like, well, not I would say, well, yes, met, but obviously I knew like Michael Jordan and Vince Carter, those players and stuff like that went to UNC. But as far as just being a normal person, this was actually the first person I ever met that went to Carolina. So in ninth grade, I had an algebra teacher, Miss Sangwan, like an Asian Indian lady, very nice, very sweet. But she was hip though. You can't be in Florida and not really kind of be
Right.
with it. At a public school, you know. So I believe she was my algebra teacher, but if it wasn't algebra, it was definitely math. And I just remember like, I always been like a little different. We were talking about this earlier, like just being different than, some of the environment that's around. So we would have conversations and she told me she went to UNC and this and that. And she just always kind of put a battery in my back to be different and be great. And so I actually ran into her. I want to say maybe it was at UNC because, UNC won like a national championship. And I want to say I ran into her then. So, just to see everything kind of come full circle like that was pretty cool. But Miss Sangwan she was cool. She was about that life though too.
Yeah, I know, especially trying to keep those kids in check. It's like, don't play with her. No, I love that though. Do you have one, DeAndre, that you could think of real quick?
Yeah, I was trying to think of one, but I would shout out my whole Capital City experience. That's a school me and Deja both went to in DC. The school just created real world experiences for us. Helped me translate through life, through college, through real world instances. So I don't know if I can pinpoint a specific teacher, but that entire school, because especially when I went to public, well, technically it's a charter public school, but a public charter school. But when I went to a real public school in Virginia, I was like, dang, these teachers don't even care about the students. So
yeah,
when I had that nurturing experience, I really did reflect and say, like, that's what school should be about, because they taught me so much. So yeah, Capital City for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I know when I went to Banneker for high school, I had a few teachers who definitely had an influence on me. But I feel like the school I went to always made me feel that I always had to be doing something, like because the school I went to was so academically rigorous and it was so just, oh my gosh, we felt like we were in jail almost every day. It was just like we couldn't have our phones. I mean, I loved going there, but it made me this person who was just like, gotta be doing something, What's next? What's next? So I was gonna ask you, Andre, like, do you have that feeling with life? Do you feel like you always have to be doing something? Do you have a relationship with being still, just existing as a person? And does that kind of affect like your mental health overall?
Yeah, I would say probably when I was living in Charlotte, I'm trying to figure out the year in my head, maybe like maybe this might have been like 2019, 2020, like the pandemic. Yeah, the pandemic for sure was a big
oh yeah.
You had so much time, so sometimes you had nowhere else to look but at yourself and trying to do your shadow work and everything. So that's when I kind of got into like meditating because it was just so many things I wanted to do. I was like young in my career. I wanted to, help the world and start this app. I wanted to start like making some passive income. And so, and then like just family and my life and football and on top of everything, it used to feel like my brain never had a second to rest. Like it was just always trying to figure out what's next, what should I be doing right now, what should this and that. And so I had gotten to meditating a lot. That was great for me. And just I started to get into some documentaries and everything about being still and just being, like just be. And I think that that's just very valuable because in life we always feel like we're not being productive if we're not doing something, but rest is also needed. Rest is also a very important, part of rejuvenating yourself so you can tomorrow or next week go and attack whatever you need to attack. So for me, with just like everything, and I think like I had got traded to Buffalo, and it just be a lot going on, just a lot.
Yeah.
And so I just had like a lot of realizations during the pandemic, and just had a lot of time to spend with myself. And I was doing like a lot. Like I got my body together, got my mind right, and was trying to, become an entrepreneur while also, obviously staying on top of football. So it was a lot. So meditating and just trying not to think about stuff. And also, I forgot about this, but I had like a subscription on the Headspace app too, and used to just work on like focusing. I didn't even realize that focusing was something that you kind of like had to work on. Like you have to actually kind of practice it with like little things and stuff. So
yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. I was also meditating during the pandemic. It put us through the ringer, all of us. But I want to ask: do you still currently meditate?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Do you
Yeah,
have any tips on staying consistent?
I mean, I would say find you a YouTube video that you like. I got a little 10-minute YouTube video that I like. I even would like meditate before games to this same video. Like whether literally I could be on the toilet, and I'm in there with my headphones on and I'm meditating, hoping that, they don't start blowing the whistles and being all loud and stuff. But like on the bus to the stadium and everything, I'm trying to just clear my mind, lock in, focus on positive energy, nothing negative coming in. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that. Do you think that, because I feel that mental health is such a big topic just in general right now, and it gets some words get overused these days, but do you feel like, was that ever prioritized for you as an NFL athlete or just an athlete in general growing up? Maybe not growing up, because I think it might have been a little more taboo when we were younger, but in college and professionally, did you feel like that was something you had to just do for yourself, or was it a conversation, a constant conversation?
I feel like definitely growing up, it was the hard way, don't cry, be tough, you're a man, all that stuff. I wouldn't say UNC, not that they didn't touch on it at all. And we had like, we had a team chaplain, and we had some therapists, I think, across the way in like Loudermilk or stuff that we could see. But I mean, I went through some things in college. Like my parents got divorced while I was in college, and that was just hard to see my mom go through all that stuff. So like team chaplain, Mitch Mason, who, let's keep him in our prayers. He's going through some medical complications. But we had a lot of emotional moments where, especially when I first got hurt, like I had my first ever surgery, like I had never really missed a game in my life. And then you tell me they finna come slice me open. Like, I was in the little stairwell crying, just me and him, like really like, and so I would say it was more so people like that in college, more so than having, these conversations and like bringing in all these people. Like the NFL, they bring in like loads and loads of people, and you got to sit in there in this hour meeting, which no one wants to do because it's like right after practice. But still, you get something out of it, and they have a lot of resources. So I would say like the NFL, they did really well, and it was just different. And even when I was playing in Buffalo and I had got suspended, they had a therapist on site, and we would meet like twice a week just to help me deal with all that craziness, because it was tough. It just felt like life, not like life is not worth living, but I just didn't have a direction to go. I didn't know where things end up going. And so I would say the NFL did a good job, does a good job, and definitely growing up, it was much different. But yeah, we're grateful for the resources that today has. It's like you said, it's everywhere. Everyone talks about it. But I would like to say, I want to say like 2015, 2016, people was not talking about like mental health and
definitely not.
Yeah. And I'm even like come to understand, like I have a lot of anxiety. Like even though I manage it well, I'm a high functioning person with like anxiety, but and that goes into like my meditating as well, so my mind can stop racing and trying to always be prepared for the unthinkable, or all that stuff.
True.
That makes a lot of sense. And it's so interesting to hear you talk about this now, because as your friend, like on the surface, which with a lot of people, you always just seem like you have all your stuff together. Like you manage yourself well, which I know is not the reality, but it's interesting to know. I just think it's a reinforcement that people need to like make sure that everyone has a support system instead of just thinking that people who visibly show themselves being upset or visibly show themselves not having all together are the only ones who need the support. But that's not the case. Like, I think DeAndre and I get that a lot where people always just see us cool and happy and we doing this, we doing that. So no one ever says like, hey, are y'all really okay? Like no one, I'm not gonna say no one, but it's just not as common as if we were just out here in the world being sad all the time or, you know what I'm saying?
I think there's a disconnect with people who are living, you know, other people's dreams like Andre. They think that, you know, they don't need help. You know, they live in the dream, they wealthy, et cetera, that they don't need help, but they're also people too. And one thing I wanted to kind of, I always want to notice kind of, but in comparison to like, let's say the NBA or sports where you don't have to wear helmets, right? Do you think that there's a sense from media or fans or other people that there's like a dehumanization of NFL athletes in a way? Because you can't see their face after they make a play or after they do something?
Yeah, I mean, I would categorize it as really all athletes. You know, they all see us as pretty much like these figurines that, you know, like we're just basically like X's and O's, or if you're playing a video game, you know, we're just a button on a video game. So, you know, it's obviously gotten better, but definitely I feel like back in the day, regardless if you had a helmet on or not, I feel like they dehumanized us. I mean, LeBron James had, you know, the situation where people were telling him to shut up and dribble.
Yep.
Right.
That was maybe less than 10 years ago. So, and that was LeBron James. So.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
true.
Yeah,
I just think it goes for like all athletes, like whether it's college or, you know, professional, like, cause even in college, like, bro, school is hard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You're not getting paid. You know, we were talking about that earlier, but UNC was hard because they had went through all those things earlier. Like I was really writing all those papers and doing all that work, going to being up at Loudermilk till 11 and, you know, all that craziness, getting up for that 8 a.m. But I had a 6 a.m. lift too. So yeah, it's just tough. And so I just think that, yeah, we do get dehumanized because, and people, you know, obviously dream of doing what we dream. And so they think that we're like superhumans and we're just regular people.
Yeah, that's a fact. So when I was working at University of Maryland, I was working in student athlete development. So similar to like how Loudermilk would be, but every time when I would be with athletes, I'm like, I am so happy I'm not an athlete. Like the amount of work you have to do, just being a student alone, I'm like stressed out. So I'm like, imagine having practices and games and all that. People do not give people enough credit. I swear it's actually insane to me. I mean, oh my gosh, I used to just be like, really? Y'all gotta go to a game after this? You lifted this morning? I just was like, all right, I'm going home and watching some on Netflix. Like, but anyway, do you feel that you have to be a athlete in every space that you are in? Athlete in the sense of maybe just like talking about that first in every conversation, or just whether it's certain.
I mean, I would say I try not to be. So I think people see my build and automatically assume, you know, especially if I'm in certain places of, you know, a different status level of people are just like, hey, why is this young Black guy here?
Yeah.
You look like a rapper, so I'm going to assume you play sports because your arms are ginormous. But I honestly don't like to tell people I'm an athlete or a professional athlete, whatever. I lie often about it.
Really? What do you say?
I would just say I'm like an entrepreneur. Like I drive trucks. Like I do anything. Like y'all just leave me alone. But I also don't like I want you to just treat me, you know, like you would kind of treat anyone else. Like I don't want this special treatment. Like for my birthday, we were in St. Bart's, and I was having a conversation with this guy at the table next to me. He manages people's money and all this stuff, and all this wealth. And he ended up asking what I'm doing. I wanted to lie, but also in a place like St. Bart's, I didn't want them to assume I was some little YN out there.
Please.
You know, so you know, I let them know that, but then, the conversation kind of changes, and they try to find you on social media, and they're like, "Oh, I gotta look you up," and this and that. For whereas if I never said anything, the conversation might just ended, or been more regular. You might not have been excited just to talk to me, but I do feel like there are like pressures in like certain situations where people do know you play when they have an expectation of what you're supposed to do, especially financially, or like, oh, if we're going out, it's supposed to all be on you.
Yeah, that's crazy work.
Yeah, so it's things like that where that's part of the reason why I don't like to just wear it on my arm, wear it on my sleeve like that. Find out, cool, but I'm not just out here just throwing it out there because I don't like the extra attention that comes with it. I don't like nothing, all that extraness. I just,
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you have any real worries about the certain like chronic injuries or just well, I know the one that's most popular that people think about is CTE, but there might be other ones that people experience that I don't know about. But do you ever have any concerns about those things, or is it more like when it happens, I'm thinking about it later? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of is, but I remember when the whole movie came out with Will Smith and everything, and again, like I was talking about the schoolwork. I remember we had to do some projects in one of my classes, and my topic was CTE. So I'm going through and I'm doing this readings, and it's like, oh, this soccer player got kicked in the head one time. They died. They had CTE. I'm like, they got hit one time in the head?
Oh my gosh. Imagine.
Yeah, I'm done for.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, nah, it's wraps for me. Am I worried about it? Not really. I mean, it just is what it is. But I do understand, like, I play linebacker. My job is to hit people. That's what I do.
Yeah.
So I understand that's what may come with it now. I didn't know that when I was younger, but I mean, I'm pretty fine about it. I don't have any symptoms. I mean, I might walk into a different room to grab something and completely forget why I was there. But other than that, I feel fine. Like, I don't have no crazy mood swings or going on or anything crazy. So, just gotta stay on top of it, and definitely keep that meditating going.
True.
Yeah, you're right. I feel like just in life in general, if you think too much about one thing, you're gonna stress yourself out about it. It's not to say that you're being careless, but it's just like, I wouldn't try to. I think the way you're going about it makes sense. I wouldn't be thinking every day, like trying to do research every single day. That would just stress me out.
No. I've already made my bed. When it's time to lay in it, I'll lay it. It's okay. Like, I have fun when I was doing. So I just didn't know that when I was doing that research in college. I just didn't know that it was kind of not so easy to get it, but people who particularly didn't play a contact sport, it was some type of contact to their head. Even volleyball, they spiked the ball, and there was people that came back with CTE from that, and I was like, well, it's like, oh, crossover helmet or not. So I'm fine with it, honestly.
It's something I wanted to touch on just real quick. Just kind of, not many people make it to the NFL. So outside of tips about sports, if you could tell somebody that was coming into Division I or NCAA sports something that they should know, not thinking about sports, what tips would you give them?
So tips on things outside of sports.
Yeah, like because they say 500,000 people are in division sports, but only 1% make it to the NFL.
Gotcha.
So I'm just saying, do you have anything that you could give some tips that you experienced?
Yeah, I mean, they have a famous saying that you should focus for these next 4 years because that'll make the next 40 easier. So I think that's something that, even though I obviously definitely had fun in college, but I was also about my work. Like, I wasn't struggling in school. I almost had a 3.0 GPA at one time.
Hey.
But and at UNC, that's hard. That's not easy. But yeah, so things like that, and just focus. Like, you just gotta lock in. Everything that you want and desire, you might see from people on social media, it's not going nowhere.
Nope.
There is nothing new under the sun. As long as you are successful and you get to where you want to be, whether that's sports or whether that's, you end up becoming an entrepreneur or you are engineer and you make a bunch of, none of that stuff that you want to do is going anywhere. So lock in while you can. Jamaica's still there. That girl is still gonna be there. The month it's all still gonna be there. There's, just don't be in a rush to do all these fun things before you made it to the point. And so, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's really good. And want to make a note that because I know you left college early to enter into the draft, but did eventually finish college after that. So shout out to you.
Yeah.
So even if someone wants to
Class of 21,
let's talk about it. Got that degree, yeah. So it's possible that even if you want to pursue your dreams, you can, if you decide, you can still try to get that degree on the
absolutely
after that. But well, really quick too, I want to say when we went to the Buffalo game, it was so fun. Like, oh my goodness, the fans are insane there. I was just like, this is a different type of city. Oh my gosh, but
they are different up there. They are different. Honestly, but you love playing that type of atmosphere where the fans kind of can create that energy and like a home field advantage. So shout out to all them Buffalo fans. They still interact with me till this day.
That's fine.
They are like, diehards, and some of these major cities, they're fans like Miami, just all that celebrity stuff is much different. Those people live and die about Buffalo Bill football. They really do.
They do.
Football on the Commanders that day. But
yeah, they crushed the Commanders. We're not gonna talk about that. Next topic. Thank you very much. What are some causes that you're passionate about outside of football? So, or just even if it's just certain topics that you see, whatever. What are some things that you're really into outside of it? Outside of that?
Oh, well, one thing was kind of like suicide awareness. I had a cousin, and I know I also had a teammate and one college teammate, a cousin, a couple high school teammates that ended up taking their own lives. And on the outside, like we were talking earlier, it might look like, oh, I'm living a dream, I got it all together, and that's what I thought about these people as well. Like, my cousin he had just graduated from Bethune-Cookman. He had played football there, and one day he's here and one day he's not. And so that's something that I kind of want to get my hands on into one day, and really, put my boots on the ground for those people that are really struggling.
What a time to bring that song up.
Oh my gosh, them fans, Lord. Them fans.
No, but that's amazing.
That is amazing, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's all tied in with mental health and everything. But getting to the point where you want to do that to yourself, man, that you have to be at such an extreme point. And I just want to be able to help, be a voice that they could come to ease them off of it or however. Yeah. And so that's one. Another is which I wanted to create an app, but I was thinking about this because I didn't do like any internships or anything at UNC. But one thing that the NFL does have, they have like these kind of internships where you can go. And so, obviously life after football comes either before you know it or, usually comes before you know it. So you should be prepared, or at least have an idea, or at least network and make these connections with these people that, you can while you have this shield on your chest, because, the NFL's shield is just global. It opens doors for you. So I did one in StubHub in San Francisco. So I went out to San Francisco for a month, and I was with StubHub, and they had some former players on their staff and everything. And, I remember them just asking me like, oh, like, what department do you want to go into? And I had no idea. Like, how am I supposed to know? I don't even know what some of these things mean. Like, I didn't even know what a project manager was at that time. I didn't understand like none of that stuff. And so as someone that has been privileged enough to like basically go to UNC and have all the doors open that he could possibly want. I myself had no idea about most of the stuff that these people was talking about up here in this big corporate office, and they making all this money and all this stuff like that. And they were really nice. But I started to think, I was like, well, if I was pretty smart in school, I'm not gonna brag on myself. For someone that was fairly intelligent, end up going to a pretty prestigious university, to have like, even though I played football, to have like kind of no idea about some of this stuff. I started thinking about the people who have none of this access that I had.
Right.
So they are definitely clueless. So not even just about like, life in general, but like, how are they supposed to pick a career or like pick something that they're interested in? Because in the Black community, everybody only wants to play ball or be a singer, do, entertainment.
Yeah.
And like we were talking about, only 1% pretty much make it.
Right.
So it's like, okay, well, you don't make it, what you gonna do?
Yeah.
And having an idea, at least when you're younger, like, okay, oh, I like this, or okay, I understand how this works, and this makes this much money, and I need to do this in order to achieve this.
Yep.
I wanted to kind of create something where kids or even college students, high school students, whatever, could go and just have resource and access to different sorts of fields of careers and everything. Just search it, like just browse it, look at it, and just understand. Like, you might not even understand what an aerospace engineer is or whatnot, but they make a lot of money. So if you like planes, you like flying, it may be something that interests you. And so just having the resources that, that can guide you on those steps, that can say, okay, this is what you need to do.
Yeah.
You need a 4-year degree. You need to major in engineering. You need to do this. You need to intern here. And even though it might kind of be overwhelming a lot, but it's the reality of the situation. So basically like giving direction to those who, that are pretty definitely underserved, underprivileged. And that was definitely, so those are definitely my 2 missions I want to get into.
I love that. It sounds more like maybe it's kind of like a pathways program or something. It's crazy you mentioned this because I still have to do my capstone, which is basically our big end of the year presentation and project for Georgetown. And I was thinking about doing my research on something related to what you literally were just saying. Just the idea of like, there's always these resources that colleges offer for athletes, but you only see sometimes the certain sports that take advantage of it, whether it's field hockey or women's lacrosse, whether it's because they have more time to do it, or their coaches advocate for more, or because y'all schedules are usually more rigorous, whatever. I don't know. But that's the research I have to do. But I definitely might text you because I might because I have to like interview people and stuff. But no, it's such a great point that you make. Just imagine people who don't literally have none of that and what they'll have to go through. So yeah, I love that. Speaking of after football, what does that look like for you? What do you see yourself doing after you're done with your sport?
Yeah. Thinking about becoming an agent.
Okay.
I don't particularly want to coach because, again, a very, very crazy, busy schedule.
Yeah.
And I've lived that life of missing Thanksgivings and Christmases, all those holidays that, that come in the fall and stuff. Basically, since like my junior year of high school, it's rare that I actually spend Thanksgiving with my family. It really is. It really doesn't happen that often. But yeah, so I'm like coaching, and mentoring is like a little different because it's like, is the money there?
I know, right? And it might not be. I don't know. That's a side hustle. Like that's a side volunteer thing.
That's like a volunteer thing. But I feel like being an agent with the experience that I've had, I think that I could basically do all 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I can represent you, because these same people that are going to be talking about their contracts, guess who I used to talk to about my contracts? Same people.
Exactly.
So all the same people are people that even I played with who are going to eventually step into these roles. As well as like, I've even thought of like, if I had defensive players like a rookie, and let's say he was struggling to learn the playbook, I would sit down with him and teach him defense. Like it's
that's
I
what's up.
played in multiple schemes, and so I could mentor them there, or like just navigating this whole professional athlete lifestyle thing with their family and all. Like it's everything that I've lived.
Yeah.
So I think that I will eventually probably go get my master's. I go back to school. But yeah, and try to get that going, because you know, even through my own representation, I feel like in the ways that I feel like they could have been better, especially in certain things in my career, those are things that I want to be able to provide for the next young man just trying to live his dream and, you know, make all the money he can, and you know.
Yep.
So
Right.
what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Hey, you have my support, even though you don't need it. But lastly, before we get up out of here, and speaking of money, do you have any money management or entrepreneurship tips for the people out here? Because I know you've had some lessons throughout that journey. So anything you want to leave us with related to that?
Yeah, I would say the first thing is family. You need to kind of lay down a foundation with your family so that they can understand that, you know, not that, like, not to say it like to be like kind of mean, but like my money is my money.
Yeah, it is.
Keep it a band. Like, let's just keep it running. My money is my money. I can help you, you know, if you need help every now and again. But what I've learned through my career is a lot of people just want you to do stuff for them. Like a lot of people don't have the same hunger or have the same grind as you. So you could set them up or put them in a position to win, and they wind back up in the same situation.
Yeah.
So someone of, you know, if you or become affluent, you got all this money, your family think that they supposed to just quit their jobs and, you know, you take care of them. And there's nothing wrong with giving them that head start. You just need to be careful about who you do that with. I don't think that your money should go up. What I mean by that is, like, it should not go to, I'm gonna exclude the parents, but like all the aunties, uncles, grandparents, like all that stuff, like your money should go down. Like that's how generational wealth is formed. If you giving your money away to all these adults who older than you, been on this planet longer than you, we all got the same 24 hours.
I mean, hey, you're right.
And then just to end back up in the same position that they was in, you would have been better off saving that for your own family, or for, like, you know, your little cousin that's trying to go to college or trying to do this and do that and actually trying to get somewhere in life. So I would say that first. My next thing would be real estate. I would say buying real estate, like buying homes, buying and selling homes has been very nice for me. Selling my house in Charlotte and everything like that. That has been probably the biggest like investment I made in actually seeing the proper ROI. Tried the whole Airbnb thing. Even did in trucking has been cool. It was just very slow at first because during the pandemic it got bad. Like the rates were just bad. So it was tough with that. But I would say definitely if you're going to invest in anything, in my experience, there's a lot of things you can invest in, stock market, all that, whatever. But I would say, yeah, the real estate has been, because you can't buy more land.
True.
Real estate has been by far the best return on my investment.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
I like those.
Yeah.
I like those.
Yeah,
especially
and avoid real estate and avoid the black tax. You'll be out.
The black tax.
You know what? Okay. But you're right though. That's a fact. That is a fact. Speaking from experience. So I mean, hey.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I am. Unfortunately.
Yeah. It is what it is.
But yeah, it's just so crazy, you know. In other cultures or races, you know, they may have already established some sort of, you know, wealth, or they have a career going. So if their kids to make it, you know, they don't have to bombard them with any requests of money or anything like
Yeah.
that, or any all of that nature. So they get to just stack it, and when they have their kids and their family, or they want to buy a house and do all that stuff. So definitely those are the two things I would say: avoid the black tax, get some real estate.
Nice.
Yep. Let me write my notes right here. For real. Now, I appreciate you, Andre, so much for joining our podcast. And
definitely.
You'll have to come back on when we have a studio and all of that. We trying to manifest. But no, seriously, at least we appreciate you. And we love you here as always. And yeah, Deon, you want to wrap us up so we can get
thank you everyone for joining this week's episode. We will be back next week. And the week after, and the week after. No more Miss Tuesdays. But seriously, thank you everybody for watching. Anybody that watches after, shout out Andre Smith again for joining. Great guest. So
yeah,
see everybody next week, right?
Yes. Adios.
Adios.